Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. I'm Mike Amos speaking to you from our studios at Troy Cable on South Brundage Street in Troy, Alabama. With me, Forrest Lee, my good friend.
Good morning.
We'll elbow it, getting real used to that fine flipper, no question about it. Because he's here with us this morning, and Mike Amos can be seen this morning, ladies and gentlemen, across the country, across the world on Facebook this morning, live from his studio at Grayton Beach, Florida. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, morning. How are y'all?
Ladies and gentlemen, he can't help it. Everybody can't be as pretty as me. You know, he's my boy and he's all I got, but he's not a movie star. He's got a face for radio. But now, today, and starting today, thanks to Scott Westfield and all the great staff people here, he can be seen live from his home in Grayton Beach, Florida.
He's zooming in.
He's called, what do they call it? They call it Zoom. Is that right, Mike?
Yeah, it's, Zoom is a free site.
Hey, there he is.
Yeah, there you go.
A lot of people do it for meetings and stuff like that.
Yeah. Michael, hand up. Let's just see if we're live. I'm handing it up. What? He can't see too.
I can't see you guys.
All right. Well, all right. Here we go.
Now I can. You're holding two fingers up.
All right. Yeah. Well, I just wanted to prove to everybody out there that we're live on Facebook this morning, and of course our studio is located on South Brundage Street in Troy, Alabama, and Forrest Lee, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, I'm just enjoying every day. It's a beautiful day so far today. I got some rain on my garden yesterday and on my grass.
That's right.
And, tickled to be here. Thank you for having me.
Just glad to be here. Exactly right. And of course, want to mention that we'll have some other calls coming in this morning. One from Bill Rice Jr. will be calling in from his home on not enough.
Flavia? Where's he live?
No. Bill Wright, yeah, he lives right here in Troy, just off Murphy Street.
Murphy Street, there you go.
And of course, he's...
his wife is a dynamic teacher.
Is she?
Yes.
Well, I bet she'd love to hear that, and she would
dynamic.
too.
She's dynamic. I think she does English.
Yeah,
But she is dynamic and got two beautiful kids.
They sure do.
And I think his wife's first name is Carrie.
Of course, they live, Rice be coming from downtown Hillcrest, which is one of the more elite spots to live in Troy, Alabama, and that's where he'll be calling from this morning. And of course,
I found Blake Crow yesterday from Hillcrest. He was running his mouth about some stuff. Of course, his dad has the prettiest shrubbery in Troy, Alabama, Cheryl Crow.
Yeah, exactly. Look straight ahead. There we go. You're exactly right. Cheryl Crow's one of my very good friends, and you know, he was one of the best basketball players to ever come through Troy years ago, back in the late 50s and early 60s, and he held the school scoring record for years until Steve McMillan broke it. I think he had scored 33 one night. Cheryl had, and Steve came back and scored 47. I believe that's the high point.
Wow.
At Charles Simpson history. Hope everybody's doing well this morning, and of course this is something new for us to be able to bring Mike in on the air this morning. And how's the weather down at Grayton Beach, Mike?
It rained pretty hard yesterday, but this morning the sun's out and it's just real windy. But it's supposed to rain, I think, up until Thursday down here, they say. But after that, I think it's going to be a real pretty weekend.
I want to ask Forrest, where were you when the rains hit yesterday?
Well, I was actually in my truck talking to a game and fish representative from the state of Alabama. He was there checking on the archery range. We had our windows rolled down. I just rode into work, and it started popping and the wind started blowing, so we eased into the bait shop and talked about archery and things of that nature.
I'll tell you what, that was one of the strongest winds I've been through lately. I'm telling you, I was out at Sister's getting lunch. I ordered it, and it was delicious. Had white peas and butter beans fresh, and they were delicious. And their food is just excellent. But I got it to go, and it was very good meal. But on the way back, man, I didn't know I had to hold on with both hands because the winds were really, really rough, and that went on for 30, 40 minutes.
It didn't last quite that long where I was, but it was
let's just say as I was moving,
Yeah.
that had a lot to do with it. I was leaving Sisters, so it was windy and stormy there, and then the further I went, the storm was there. So if I'd been sitting still, it wouldn't have lasted quite as long.
The last wind we had of over 100 miles an hour a few months ago, it tore up Pike County Lake, part of it on the other side.
Exactly, yeah.
And it took down some trees on the side that I was sitting, so I was ready to get out from around those trees.
Are they catching some pretty good fish now?
It's slowing down just a little bit.
Are the brim starting to mature? Have you seen a bull brim come out there?
I have last week. I mean, my last day of work was Thursday, and they were good double hand size.
Yeah.
You know, fellow was.
Are they bluegill or shell cracker? You know, shell cracker, has that little, you can tell what a shell cracker is.
Sir.
And nothing is prettier than a dark, bluish bluegill, beautiful.
Well, this particular guy had about 12. He had 13 and had 6 of one kind, 7 of the other, and they were good size hands.
Now, what will he be able to keep out of those?
You can keep 20.
Yeah, you big as your hand.
Whatever. Doesn't matter the size of the brim or the catfish, but the bass, that's probably the most foggish area, but it's pretty clear though. Mm-hmm. Your bass have to be under 14 inches that you keep. One can be over 20. So anything between 14 and 20 has to go back in the water.
I got you.
And people get confused to that.
And you don't keep it. The minute you caught it, you let it go back.
You're supposed to have something that you can measure with, and there are signs throughout the lake that tells you the size. In a little meter. You just, if it's over that, you got to throw it back.
If I've got a spinning reel in back of my truck and I'm 73 years, God, I hate to say that, 73 years old, and I walk in, what do I got to pay?
Nothing. You just
zero.
You get, if you're 65 or older, it's free. You just come in and get a permit to fish.
Yeah.
And you will write your name down, Mike Amos, 36081. I guess.
That's right. Yeah.
And then we sign it, give it to you, and you walk out the door.
Now, could I just drive down around the lake and get out of my truck, park my truck, and then walk back and forth?
We don't want you parking on the piers. You can go to the other side of the dam park, walk that side, or you can drive this side on the bait shop side, all the way down till you run out of places.
Now, if I wanted to take my spinning reel, which is usually a Zebco 33, and put a hook and a cork on it, I can.
Sure.
And of course, and I could fish for the brim pretty much.
Yes, sir.
Brim. I'll tell you something. People say all the time, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about," but you don't see a lot of bass hitting crickets, do you?
I haven't.
You see, bass are going to hit. They're going to hit a worm or a plastic worm or something like that.
Hot water.
But your brim are going to hit the crickets and the wigglers. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. I wish I could find me a good catawba tree full of worms.
Well, let me tell you this. I've said this many times on my show, and of course I've been coming to you live. Well, not necessarily live, but my show's been airing since 1998. And I tell this story about going to my grandmother's house on a Sunday to visit with my grandparents who lived over in Bullock County near Hector, Alabama.
Okay.
Hector is an area over there. And we'd be riding along, and in a minute, my daddy would slam on brakes. Oh, gosh, it startled everybody in the car. I said, "Daddy, what do you want? What do you want?" And he backed up, and he said, "Here, hand me that sack back there." And he walked back there, and there was a catawba tree. And he picked every one of them off there. And if he wasn't going to bass fish the brim fish that day, he would do it the next day. A lot of people say it's the best brim bait out there.
We have put them in the freezer before.
Have you really?
Yes.
But they wouldn't be alive, though,
Well, they'll come out. You can still use them, but we've put them in the freezer before.
Catawba, and a catawba is not
on 210.
A lot of people don't like the bait of catawba, but a lot of people will just cut it in half. But it's excellent brim bait, isn't that right?
It is. Catfish.
I'll tell you something else that we used to slam the brakes for that you never see. Somebody
Plums.
tell me where one is now. It's a plum tree.
Plums.
This time of year, they was. How about a yellow plum? Did you ever know what a yellow plum tree was?
Ours are mostly red.
Well, let me tell you. But you used to see plum trees on the side of the road. You never see them anymore.
We on dirt roads used to see blackberry bushes all the time,
That's
but
right,
I think with the state might be. But you hardly see blackberry bushes on the state of dirt roads.
Right. Take a look at yourself this morning, Forrest Lee. Forrest Lee is a retired school teacher. All right, there we are.
Yeah.
All right, we're in a full wishbone set. Alabama comes out in a full wishbone set to give to Johnny Musso. Musso to the 5. Musso, touchdown, Alabama. Johnny Musso, the Italian stallion from Birmingham, Alabama, has just scored another touchdown for Alabama. Snapback touchdown. The kick is up. It is high enough. It is far enough. It is good. And with timeout on the field, the score, Alabama 44, let's say this, Georgia Tech 14. This ball game is brought to you by Texaco. Trust your car to the man who wears a big red Texaco star at Sky Chief Supreme. And by Firestone. Wherever the wheels are rolling, the name you hear is Firestone, where the rubber meets the road. We'll be back to more of Alabama football in just a moment.
That's pretty good.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance needs.
We're back.
Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, and of course it's brought to you by our good friends at Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram Trucks on the bypass. Want to say hello to Jason Gregory and his staff. They've got the biggest sales in their history right here going on at Troy Cable, Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep. Of course, we're live on Troy Cable this morning across the country, across the world on Facebook. We're coming to you from Troy, Alabama, which is located between Montgomery and Dothan, Alabama. And, of course, we're right in the heart of good peas and corn. Man, let me tell you, yesterday from Sisters, I had wonderful peas and butter beans and pork chops. Got it to go, and it was delicious.
My daughter and I ate there Friday before we left going to Birmingham.
Yeah.
She had a photo shoot in Birmingham Friday night and one in Huntsville Saturday.
Yeah, did y'all have fun?
We had, I had a blast.
I bet
it was, we got to talk about some of her goals and dreams, and it was exciting to spend a weekend with your 20-year-old
Mike was talking about how sharp she was the other day. Isn't that right, Mike? You're talking about Forrest Gump here?
Yeah, I saw a picture of her. She's a pretty girl.
Thank you.
Now, did y'all go to a wedding?
Abby did an engagement party or engage, after
Yeah,
rehearsal
see, that
dinner
was fun, a good party was fun,
in
wasn't it?
Birmingham. That was in Vestavia. And then we just went on to Huntsville, spent the night at the Westin in Huntsville. Real nice motel. And then she had a photo shoot of a graduating senior at one of the local high schools at Buckhorn High School.
Isn't that great?
And her sister, Jody met her sister through FIMU here at Troy.
I got you.
And so we did that and then drove back. And on the way back, Jody and Abby surprised me, bought a brand new TV.
Oh, really?
Now, my TV at home was about like this, but we got a 50-inch.
Well, that's great.
I'm excited.
That's great.
We get it Monday. So.
Well, that's super. That's super. Of course, Forrest Lee, retired school teacher. Do you miss it at all?
Yes, I miss it. I miss the kids. I miss some parts of it, but my favorite time was at the middle school when you could do all kind of units and do golf and table tennis and badminton and tennis. I missed that kind of.
I'll tell you this, in PE, physical education courses, you don't see them near as much, especially in the higher levels. You still see a lot of it at the junior high level and 8th grade level, don't you think?
Right. Well, I hope they did, but when we dressed out and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, they make you dress out.
Well, I don't know about the middle school anymore.
I know, but when you taught them, you make them work out.
Yeah.
I mean,
and we encouraged them buying
out.
uniforms, orange and blue uniforms that Coach Whitman. And we first started putting the names on the back and all that kind of stuff because if they left it, they could keep up with who's.
Now, on a cold day, a lot of them say, Coach, we don't need to go out. It's cold. Then you hear that a lot.
Well, in the cold weather, we'd kind of be in. We'd have somebody on one end of the court, somebody on the other end. And we had that back locker room that we sanitized, and we'd have table tennis back there.
Yeah.
And board games until it was your turn. I had checkers and chess. And then we rotated. We had rotated, so we had a chess tournament, checker tournament, table tennis, singles, and then doubles. I taught them how to play doubles, and then you ran through. And I would have divisions. I'd have an A division, B division, based upon their skill.
That's right.
And then the winner of the A and the B division would play each other for the championship.
How long do they have the carpet court? I remember that was. I think they went to the carpet court when I was in.
It's back to wood. It's wood.
Yeah.
I know, but at one time, of course, I was there when they first built that
They had
gym.
tile.
In fact, I was there, and we didn't have how about this now? We didn't have a gym. Think about how tough that was. And the kids were wanting to go outside and everything, and I tried to come up with as many films I could come up with. Some of them good and some of them were bad. I made a mistake a few times, but to be able to discipline kids in PE without a facility,
that's hard.
It made it tough.
That's hard.
And one time I told them, I said, it just so happened that my family owned the land behind the school. I said, all right, we're going on a nature trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
One kid got lost, and then I sent about 5 of them after him, and then 2 or 3 of them got lost.
Oh, Lord.
So, but it just took me some of the things that we had to do.
Walking over to the little pond?
No, we didn't go that far, but I let them walk around a little bit, and that was the last day I did. I never did that again.
Yeah, just like.
But I was the last PE coach to leave Old Troy High School. And that dungeon down there, did you ever go in that facility?
No, sir, not in the dungeon, but I've been in that basketball
Well, the dressing
court.
rooms were all downstairs, and cold, man, and I remember the 7th grade, Marvin Wiley, who I talked to on the phone the other day. He's 86, 87 years old now. Great teacher, he and his wife, Patty, and he was a great athlete at Troy, but he was my PE teacher, and we played. When we couldn't go out, we'd stay inside and play dodgeball, shirts and skins.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, and these bigger kids, back when I was there, I went from the 6th grade elementary school to the junior high school. I was just a 7th grader. That was the most trying times of my life was to be a 7th grader and have to dress out with those 9th grade boys who were bigger, stronger, and more mature than I was.
I got you. We got you.
Physically and mentally.
Yeah.
And they made it, and Coach Wiley made us take a shower every day.
Yeah. Well, I've been at 2 different middle school settings. At Charles Henderson, you had the 6th graders had physical education by themselves, 2 class periods.
Exactly.
The rest of the day, the 7th and 8th graders were mixed. most. But when I was in Whites Road Middle School in LaGrange, Georgia, for the Troup County school system, I had 2 classes of 6th graders, 2 classes of 7th graders, 2 classes of 8th graders, and that was ideal. And I had the boys, and the female teacher had the girls.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, to comply with Title IX, we offered the same activities, so it's not like you got to intermingle all the time.
Yeah.
But that was a great.
I tell you something though, that was the fun part of growing up, and a lot of people my age that are watching today. When it rained, you didn't dress out. So what they did, you went to the gym and we square danced, and that was fun. So 7th grader dancing with a 9th grade girl. You know, and sometimes they would be in their PE uniforms, and sometimes they wouldn't be, but it was fun to square dance with those folks. Or if you didn't square dance, you played dodgeball. You dressed out and played dodgeball, which was pretty rough. But those were days a long time ago. Mike, tell us what's happening in sports. Are we going to have a football? Are we going to have basketball or baseball this summer in Major Leagues? What do you think?
I mean, I think we're going to have a season. It's just a matter of when baseball will start, I guess. It looks like it's going to be 60 games they're going to play. I mean, extended playoffs. The owners and the players couldn't agree to terms, so basically the commissioner is just going to have to step in, and they're going to try to play some kind of season. I mean, I looked at the virus death rate yesterday. It's like 320 for the day. That keeps on coming down.
Is that a record low for a long time? 320?
I think yesterday was 230 something.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign. I mean, I think the season is going to start. It's just a matter of once it starts, how can you keep these players from going out to bars and fraternity houses, sorority houses, just, being a student in general, going to class. I mean, you're going to have, people test positive throughout the season. It's just a matter of, I guess, the 10 days are out and which games they miss.
All right. The starters, you got to stay in. You're going to be quarantined. We're going to assign one person to sit outside your door. You can't go nowhere.
Yeah.
Who is that?
Who's your stud players?
It's going to be compliments.
Who is that had tested? So many of them tested positive.
Clemson,
yesterday.
LSU.
Clemson had about 25 to 28.
All right, now
LSU's
no way in the
up there,
world
too.
are you going to be able to have a football season with that kind of data out there.
Well, you hope they don't. I mean, that you can't get it again. I'm not sure if you can get the virus again once you've already had it. I don't know how that works.
Pike County, Alabama, there was over 300 yesterday. I think that was it. What's the total today? Do you know?
I'd have to look and see. I think it was somewhere around 360.
Would you see Justin Thomas make a comment about that it was crazy at Myrtle Beach? It was, that the restaurants were packed. The beaches were packed.
Oh, yeah.
When they interviewed him after the 3rd round, he said, man, it's like a zoo up here.
Yeah.
But
I see it every day on a regular basis. And now the number 1 beach in the country is where Drayton got voted. So I see. I mean, Dad was with me.
Boy, we had a great time. That was
there had to be 700 people on the beach.
Yeah. And you could just start walking in the water and just walk for, hundreds of yards and meet people and all that. But like my wife was saying, we met all these people and they breathed on us. You know what I mean? What do you do? What do you do?
Well, I mean, you try to keep your distance, but we have little kids, and a lot of the parents that go to our preschool are out there, so we kind of know people, and everybody wants to hang out, and especially our kids want to hang out with those little friends from school. So.
How many are in their class, or how many's in their preschool, Michael?
Normally it's 56, but since they started back, when we originally went back, there was only 17 kids that went back, so it was really small. And then I think they had summer camp school, and I think there's about 25 for summer camp school, but normally it's around 56. But we've had them in school. At the end of the week will be 7 weeks.
Wow.
So we're very blessed that we had them back in school.
What high school would they go to if they stay currently where it is? What high school would they be?
You got an option to go to the Seaside School, which is a kind of a lottery system where you go to actual 5th grade through high school at Seaside, and then if you went to the normal public school, you go to South Walton High School, which is the Seahawks.
Okay.
South Walton, is that located there at Grayton and that general area?
South Walton's right there on 331, heading out to over the bridge.
Isn't David Felix the coach at Freeport High School?
Yeah, David's the head basketball coach at Freeport High School.
And Jerry Hester's down there somewhere.
Yeah, they're big friends. I know that.
They both came through Goshen as student teachers.
That's right. They're great people.
I see Hester. I've seen him a couple times down here. He's still kind of in the sporting goods business up below.
Okay.
We need our emergency number if someone has a question about the virus. What is that number this morning? Do you have that near you, Mike?
I don't have it.
Yeah, I've got it somewhere, and we'll pick it up and give that to you soon and put it on our screen this morning. I'm Mike Amos, coming to you this morning from our studios at Troy Cablevision in Troy, Alabama, where ladies and gentlemen, we're also getting a picture from Grayton Beach, Florida, with Mike Amos, and then, of course, Forrest Lee, our very good friend, located here in Troy. Of course, Bill Rice Jr. will call in later, so will Will Matthews. And remember, tomorrow on this show, we have Max Howell, one of the top sports analysts in the country, and let him. But right now, it's such
Last time Max was on, all we did was talk about cooking for 45 minutes.
Well, let me tell you something. You get to the point of that's why we got to find something to talk about. Yesterday we talked about Pike Liberal Arts possibly are just looking at some question marks about should they stay right there in the Alabama independent schools where there's probably 3 or 4 competitive schools in Pike's 3A system there, or should they look at the possibility of maybe going to a public school schedule and playing teams like Zion Chapel, teams like Brantley, teams like Elba, 1A teams. I mean, and do like several teams have done lately, is jumped the system and gone to a public school deal. What was your feeling about that?
Well, Northwest Methodist in Dothan was a member of the AISA, the Private School Association.
Yeah.
Well, they made a decision to go to the Alabama High School Athletic Association. They're not going to play in their classification to begin with, but according to the report I read this summer, now they have like 14 to 20 teams that they can play in a 50-mile radius as opposed to going to Tuscaloosa, Mobile, Monroe County,
Auburn,
Selma, Phoenix City. So they're in that area there.
Right.
And but it's, my personal opinion is the way that you have to travel these big 3A schools like Pike Liberal Arts. If they join the Alabama High School Athletic Association, their travel is going to be cut short.
Yeah. Well, Arrington would be a good program. Long High School of Skipperville would be a good program.
Yes, and my guess is they may end up being maybe 2, maybe 3A.
Yeah.
No, Goshen went up to 3A, so I don't think they'd be 1A. Yeah. They may be that their first year.
Wouldn't you hate to have to be 1A and play Elba?
Well, Elba, but I don't know what the charge. They do a multiplication figure. I don't know what that is, Michael, but it's for every, I think, boy you have, you get multiplied like 1.3 or 1.5. So instead of having 100 boys, they consider you as 150. They give you that multiplication table, and instead of 1A, you go to 2A or possibly 3A.
Yeah. Something that a lot of people are saying is, Mike, sure, this is good, and this is just us talking, ladies and gentlemen, on what could happen if enough people wanted it to happen. Education, would you have a lot of academic criteria?
Yes, you would, but you look at their faculty and staff and their GPA and their ACT scores, they are 2 or 3% above the state level.
That's right.
I went to their graduation as a Gideon, and I sat in front of Jason Gregory and his wife.
Yeah, okay.
Or behind them.
Yeah.
And, you know, they just gave away a brand new car to a graduate out there.
And aren't they
But
something?
the
Yeah.
principal was just talking, I think it was close to $3 million in scholarships.
Yeah.
Every kid that applied for a scholarship got one, and most kids average like 3.2 scholarships.
I think you know, if you looked at it on a yearly basis, around 90% of their students go ahead and go to college.
36 graduates.
Yeah.
5 or 6 had over a 30 on the ACT.
Yeah.
And I think 5 or 6 or 7 scored between 25 and 30, but their average score was like 23.7.
So you don't think there'd be that much
The
of
academics,
change or any change academically?
No,
is that right?
the faculty out there is sensational.
Yeah.
You look at go to their website,
Yeah.
retired teacher, retired teacher, retired teacher, or someone's been teaching for a long time. But if you're putting out those quality of kids, Christian atmosphere.
And an open door policy.
Right.
You got to have that. You know,
Right.
you would have to have that. You know, you would be like Montgomery Academy, like a Houston Academy in Dothan. You know, of course,
Their facilities have improved. Football, baseball, the basketball gym's brand new. I mean, the brand new lunchroom and cafeteria with the auditorium.
But you take the guy coaching over at Zion Chapel or the guy at Arrington or wherever, and of course they get pretty good athletes. But the private school, like if Pike was called Pike Academy and they started their private school as such, but at the same time the academics would not be any different than anything, and then the scheduling would also be pretty much the same thing. But the thing that those guys from Arrington and Zion Chapel are concerned about is the other Pike would be able to recruit students and recruit athletes. Now, what do you do about that?
Well, here's my answer to that. They would have to follow the same guidelines as the other schools. The kids can come from anywhere they want to that school. I wouldn't call it recruiting, but
Yeah, that's right.
there's probably not a school ever that hadn't asked, or hey, you'd love to come here, we'd love to have you. But there's, you know, they couldn't openly recruit, but a kid could go there as a choice right now, and he could do the same thing then. And what these kids are doing now, just like I believe it's Hewitt Trustful. Well, Fife just lost one of the best quarterbacks in the state of Alabama to that school up there, who's a 5A power, and it's making all those schools in that area. Come on now.
That's right.
You know, something was
That's
something
right.
up or not, but
And,
the pasture's always greener.
It makes it easier when the families don't have to move. You know, I mean, that's
yeah. Now, academically,
in Birmingham, you actually have to move to that area for your kids to go to school there when they're from the public.
that would be a pretty good question. If Pike was played a public school schedule, would they be allowed to have an open door policy and actually recruit students? You know,
They couldn't actively recruit.
They definitely can.
I mean, like Montgomery Academy, you can go to Montgomery Academy, but you got to meet their academic standards. Is that right?
Yeah, Pine Liberal Arts is not going to have any issue with academics. That's the least of their concerns. It's about the number of athletes.
And it's not done, ladies and gentlemen. We're just talking. I hope people don't. You know, this is the second day in a row that we've talked about it, but it is intriguing. And you've been around education for a long time, Forrest. Do you think it would be a positive thing that if they did make a move?
I think it would, personally, but I believe in the red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
I believe in America. Go where you want to take your kids to school. If you want to homeschool them, do that. If you want to go to New Life Christian Academy, where the Blackmans have created that school, they can do that. I mean, and that's wonderful if they do. Or go, you know, if you want to pick up and move to Highland Home, do so. But go where you want to go, and wherever you feel is the best fit for your children, as a husband and wife, make that decision, or wife, a single parent, whatever's best for them to do. The atmosphere from 8 to 3, possibly, it's called America.
Yeah. Well, no question about that.
It's not going to be good for Charles Henderson and Charles City Schools if that happens.
No, it wouldn't.
Well, other schools have athletes pulled from them, here and there. But we've never had, if it is so, if you've had 10 or 12 kids from Charles Henderson go to Pike Liberal Arts, that's the largest one-time movement you've had in this area. And that's the difficult thing. And, I look at it this way from Charles Henderson's point of view. We've invested a lot of time in developing these players as men to be good students, to be good in the community, working hard, and then you lose them if that's the case. If they are going. But
a lot of this topic came up when there's a rumor out there. I'm not going to put any names to it, that some of the fine athletes at Charles Henderson were transferring to Pike Liberal Arts to play for Pike Liberal Arts next year. Which you take Brad McCoy's look at it. Here he is, all these skilled athletes. I'm losing to a smaller school. But it's a place that these kids wanted to go,
Well, the chances are, if there's 9 or 10, those are probably 9 or 10 starters, and then you got to rebuild. And look who you rolling in. You're in a new area,
and it happens every year. I mean, let's just say you've been molding this kid since he was a sophomore to be your quarterback, and then when he gets to be a junior or senior, he decides he'd rather go to play for Pike Liberal Arts across town, which no rule against it,
Well, Greenville and Fort Dale Academy.
Competition has to matter. It seems like. If I was a college coach and I was looking at a guy, he was at a private school compared to a 5A public school, as far as the amount of athletes they're playing against, that would make me think a little more about that kid if he could play at the next level. And you're not going to play the same athlete at a private school that you're going to play.
Oh, there's no question about it. No question about it. And another reason this is happening and it's sort of coming to a front here is Pike Liberal Arts has hired a new coach from Tuscaloosa who is...
but he was at a private school. He was at Tuscaloosa Academy.
That's right. He was at Tuscaloosa Academy, a place where he could recruit athletes, and now he's at Pike where he can recruit athletes. So it's easy for him to be in a restaurant and see a good-looking athlete. Said, "Hey, son, where do you go to school?" And he says, "Well, I go so-and-so, so-and-so." And say, "How would you like to come play with us over at Pike Liberal or whatever?" Which he can do that without any problem,
Well, it was recently where Pike Liberal Arts lost some kids to Ayrton to play baseball.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
And or football or multi-sport athletes. Goshen, from what I'm hearing, has lost some to Pike Liberal Arts. And when you lose 1 or 2 at Goshen, that's 4 starters.
See,
2 on offense, 2 on defense.
He can say, "Follow me. Let's go over here. And, this is going to be fun to play here, and we're going to play against these guys here and all that." But
who's paying for the school?
That's another question. See, that's why they call recruiting. That's why they call recruiting. Now, inside the Alabama independent schools, you can't do all these things. Like you couldn't go for Lee Scott to Pike Liberal Arts or like that. You would have to,
unless your parent is employed by that school,
live there. Yeah,
you can do it then.
I think so. But this is just I'm surprised that we're not getting any calls about this because it is something that is serious business, I think.
Well, it's just a different time for Troy and Charles Henderson because, say if I was a sophomore at Charles Henderson and I see if, a bunch of my teammates leave, I'm thinking, wow, are we going to be any good? But it gives me an opportunity to play, or it's going to be a different. it's going to be an interesting
Let's
year.
have another cup of coffee. Let's have a cup of Nescafe.
But I look at it as this: it'll settle down. But if wherever a kid wants to go to school, or in their family, go.
Yeah. But
Or stay.
and it's got to be eligible, no question about it. It's got to be eligible. And this is something we threw out this morning and yesterday a little bit about what if some things happen. Right now, nothing like this is happening at Pike Liberal Arts. We just know that their program is getting better and better by recruiting athletes to come to their school. And that rule has been out there all this time. And I'm not saying that Pike Liberal has not been getting new students every year. And I don't know, I'm not going to get into who pays for it or whatever, but he had the right to, if he's playing at Charles Henderson or Goshen or Pike County High School, he could transfer and be eligible to play next year at Pike Liberal.
Yes, you can.
And so there are different rules and regulations, but right now the new coach, and I'm not going to mention his name. Do y'all know his name?
Mr. Mario White.
Coach White.
Yeah.
He's trying to do the best he can be and make his program the best he can be. And one of the things he's doing, he's going out and getting kids from the public schools like Charles Henderson and like Goshen and Pike County High School to go play for Pike Liberal Arts. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that's having an effect on their program right now, good or better. And of course, it's a good thing, I'm sure, for these kids that, like you said, that want to go and play at a different level. Right here in Troy, and then at the same time, a real solid 5A program here in Troy can't just go out and recruit like that.
Well, the other day when we talked to Chase and Rush, Rush said he had considered it, but his family had such a big tradition at Pike Liberal Arts.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because he wanted to go to. It's because he wanted to play with his buddies, and he knew his buddies were going to be good.
Yeah.
Well, their team was good too.
Yeah.
So, when you look at the two baseball programs, Pike Liberal Arts, they're rocking and rolling. Yeah. Charles Henderson, I think now, they took a dip when Irons left.
That's right.
And that's natural because Irons is Irons is Irons.
Yeah, it's a great program.
That's a very special person and teacher and a baseball coach. So when he left, it naturally was going to take a dip.
Yeah.
Now with Chase coming on board, it's going to start slowly rising up because he's been around Coach Irons and he's been around his dad, and that program is going to come back up. Pipes is here already, and I think they're going to stay.
If Charles Henderson wanted to,
just like Coach Blayton always says, it's all about players. You got to have players.
Yeah.
It don't matter what offense you run. You got the players. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
A lot of those players have transferred to Pike Liberal Arts, and I don't know if some of those guys will come back. But talking about football though, Charles Henderson football is down. You're coming off.
They are
4-6, 3-7. You can understand these guys want to win.
0-7 in the playoffs the last 7 years.
Yeah.
And then back to
win more games.
Looking at Chase. Smart, as good a coach as he is, he can't just go and say transfer to Charles Henderson unless that child's parents move to Troy.
Yeah,
they've got to actually be living in the place where they play. Yeah. If you transfer in the public schools now, in the private schools, the big difference is hey, you're the starting quarterback for Goshen. Come play with me at Pike.
I do not see Chase Smart going to Goshen or wherever. Hey, you want to come play baseball at Troy? Yeah. I don't see that. I think he'll have the ability through his junior high program. Bless our rec department. That's where it. There's baseball and softball, but Chase, with his coaches at the JV level and the middle school level, Rome wasn't built in one night. But trust me, he's got the tools it'll get in place and it'll start.
Yeah. And then, of course, by hiring a young Chase Smart, who, of course, is the son of Mark Smart, the head baseball coach at Troy University, no question in anybody's mind across this state that Charles Simpson's program has been enhanced, wouldn't you say?
Sure.
Definitely been enhanced with a bright young coach as he is. And like you said,
think about Brian Meadows coming in as a pitching coach, too.
Yeah, Brian Meadows, a former professional pitcher that played right here at Charles Simpson High School, is going to be the pitching coach. And that would I'd be impressed with that if Brian Meadows could coach my son if I had a baseball pitcher. No question about it.
There's no doubt about it.
But this is fun to talk about this, and all of this, I reckon, came about when we were talking about kids that were at Charles Henderson next year will be playing for Pike Liberal Arts. Well, I don't know how many players will be transferring, but there will be some, and they're good players.
Well, you look back, let's go back to Pike Liberal Arts. The last time they won the state championship in football, guess what? They had stud bucket linemen. They hadn't had that many stud bucket linemen since. Yeah. I'm talking about
stud bucket.
A stud bucket. That means, you ever heard that before? I call them a stud bucket. I mean that Will Starling is a stud bucket.
Yeah.
He was a stud bucket. He controlled the line. If he was on offense, he controlled the line if he was on defense. And they had like 4 to 6 of those stud buckets.
Yeah.
Well, you got to have those type players or you're not going to win. Yeah. They had plenty of skilled players in the past, but injuries has beset.
Oh, yeah, we've talked about that, yeah.
Injuries, and you've got to have linemen. Yeah. Wherever you coach to be successful,
and you take Charles Henderson's got to play with what they've got. And of course, they you might have 2 good groups coming through, and then a smaller group just didn't have enough 10th graders or whatever. But at the same time, over at Pike Liberal Arts, if they don't have the players, they go get the players, or they have to go get them to be competitive.
Well, in the past, you haven't heard of this much transferring at Pike Lib, really.
Yeah. But it's a dynamic guy. This new coach, White, is a very dynamic guy. He's an individual that a lot of people would love for their child to play for.
Well, in basketball last year, Pike Liberal Arts almost won the state championship in basketball.
They came out of nowhere. Yeah,
they were in it until the 4th quarter, but their season they started off mediocre, but got better. They got better. They got better.
That's right.
In baseball, no question, they probably would have won another one.
Another thing as far as basketball at Pike Liberal, they went from a very poor facility to a very nice facility.
Yes.
They've added, renovated the gym and put a new floor in, and now much more impressive facility.
Ponder coached basketball and baseball.
Yes.
So losing him is going to make a difference.
I think it's athletes. They'll be fine. Matt Brown's taken over as basketball coach.
Yeah.
And Rush taking over as baseball. It's just a new. They've been around him for several years. Not Rush, but Rush might have helped a little bit. But I think it's just gonna.
And then Rush built such a name for himself.
Matt Brown played for Carl Hall, so I think at Charles Henderson.
He was in my first 8th grade class when I rode in.
Yeah.
At Charles Henderson Middle School.
Of course, his dad could pay for him to go anywhere he wanted to, and he stayed in the public schools. Isn't that right?
Yeah. His daddy is Robert Charles Brown. He and I graduated. We graduated Goshen together. And the radio guy? I'm Robert Brown. You remember the radio guy?
Yeah.
I'm Robert Charles.
I love that. Yeah.
That's how I
love that.
That's a great family right there.
So Bobby was a pretty good basketball player, wasn't he?
Dad in football. He was pretty good in football.
He sure was. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you're enjoying our show today, brought to you by our good friends at Troy Regional Medical Center, an outstanding medical facility right here in Troy. We're going to give you some information on the virus when we get back.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
We've been doing business the right way for 31 years, and now we've approached a year at the all-new Bill Jackson Ford. But don't take our word for it. We feel our customers express it the best.
I would recommend Bill Jackson to friends and family.
Environment was just friendly. It's a short drive from anywhere.
Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell camera allows you to answer the door from your smartphone when you are at home, at work, or on the go. When a visitor presses the button, Troy Cable Security sends a live video feed to your smartphone so you can see, hear, and speak to the person at your door. With the doorbell camera, you can have your porch light turn on automatically when it detects motion at night to create the appearance that someone is at home. You can view video clips so you can always know who stopped by when you were out. Troy Cable Security. You love them, protect them.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Back. You say back to our show.
He doesn't know.
Okay. Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Amos along with Forrest Lee, and Mike Amos calling in from Grayton Beach, Florida. Beautiful Grayton Beach, Florida. Mike, are there anybody laying in the sun down there this morning?
I'm sure you'll have a lot of people going out this morning. I think the rain's supposed to be coming in this afternoon is what we said. So hopefully pretty day.
Tell us about this and how long this lake is going to be there. It was really a beautiful, beautiful Sunday, my Father's Day. Mike took me to Grayton Beach, and boy, what a fun time we had. But tell us why we had such a fun time.
Well, you have a western lake that flows into the Gulf of Mexico, and then sometimes the Gulf of Mexico flows into western lake. So basically, it just turns into a giant clear swimming pool, kind of like the Bahamas, crystal clear water and beautiful fish all around you, and it's probably happens about a month out of each year.
And what he said was where the Gulf actually went into the
lake.
Yeah, went into the lake, and it was about. Probably at its deepest point was maybe 4 feet.
Wow.
But you were able to go through this beautiful crystal water, and the water was wonderful, and you could just walk all over the area, and thousands of people were there. And I tell you, how long will that be like that, Mike? I want to recommend this for people to go to.
You use the last couple weeks to 3 weeks, and then, the lake will usually flow back into the Gulf of Mexico, but it just depends. Really on weather more than anything. Sometimes the sand will cover it up as well. So that's what happened last time. It used to be natural that it would just open up naturally, but every once in a while when the lake gets high, they have to get a backhoe.
And there are a lot of people on these boards. What are these boards where they're standing up, Mike, and have a
paddle board.
A lot of paddle boarders and so forth. Now, Mike
got a paddle board.
Yeah, Mike was sort of privileged, more privileged than a lot of folks is, because y'all have a permit where you can drive out on the beach. Tell us about that.
Well, my wife's family purchased a home in Grayton around 75, and we are grandfathered in with a beach permit for life. So that means that we can always jump in our pickup truck and take all of our beach chairs and floats and coolers and whatever we need and park right next to the water.
So far as what they did, Mike, before we got there, he drove out, took all the chairs and tables out to our spot on the beach, and it just made it so much easier for us to get in the car, and there it is. There's our spot right there. There's our tent right there, and hey, all we got to do is unload the truck.
Is that 4-wheel drive?
Yeah, definitely. You had to have 4-wheel.
Yeah.
That sand will get really, really deep sometimes.
But now
here's my view this morning. If you want to see what I look at.
Okay.
There's the live oak trees and looking out at everybody.
Yeah, he had beautiful. See, and that's the main street of Graydon right there, and there's Mike's backyard. That's Michael's backyard. Isn't that nice?
Is that a gecko?
Yeah, see how those cars are going by there?
Yeah, that's a gecko. this is my screen porch.
Okay.
I got an American flag here and an American flag there.
Yeah.
Here's somebody coming on a bicycle.
Wow. And golf carts and everything. That's the main drag of Great Beach, right behind his house. Yeah.
Tilt it down just a little bit.
Tilt it down there. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. Now, if I was at my place if I was at my place at Sea Chase, you would have ocean. You would be able to see the ocean. Isn't that right, Scott?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That we wanted to.
Yeah.
But back to this, the ocean the way it is, or the beaches the way they are right now at Graydon, Mike. You would it'd be a great time to go, but now you would have to park somewhere, and that's one of the problems that you might find is very little parking.
You got the Red Bar about to open, and then you got beach parking, and then you got Chiringo. So I mean, a lot of people are going to have a hard time parking. I had somebody park in my yard the other day, and had to call the sheriff to get them to move.
Yeah, because you were blocked in, weren't you?
I went blocked in, but we have the park on our property. We don't know. Somebody from South Carolina.
Yeah.
Michael, I bet you know the answer to this question. On September the 19th in Oxford, Mississippi, when Ole Miss plays Auburn, what ceremony will take place?
When they play Auburn?
At home on September the 19th. Be the third jersey retired. Whose jersey?
Yeah, they're going to retire jersey at...
Eli Manning has his jersey retired that day.
Yeah.
He'll join his dad, Archie, and and Chucky Mullins.
That's
38 and 18, and it's 18 miles an hour on campus because of that number.
That's amazing, no question about it.
Roman Harper is going to join the SEC network. Roman Harper played at Alabama, and of course he's from Prattville. Then his brother was a really good player playing linebacker in Troy named Ronald Harper.
That's right.
Tom Baum and Marcus Spears are out as far as the SEC game day. So
are they really? Oh, me.
Roman Harper will be with Tim Tebow, Jordan Rogers, the former Vanderbilt quarterback, and then Laura Rutledge, who's probably the prettiest broadcaster out there on ESPN and SEC network. She is married to Josh Rutledge that played baseball at Alabama and then played in the pros for 3 or 4 years. From Miss Florida.
Is this going to break my buddy's heart, though, Mike, not to be on there?
Well, Feinbaum, I think, is on his way out. His contract, I think it's going to be up in, December, so he might be going to another network. So.
Of course,
Feinbaum makes $5 million a year.
Does he really? Oh, no. Are you serious?
Wow.
To talk on the radio.
Yeah, his contract. Of course, he does a lot of TV work as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know who made him famous? With those crazy folks made him famous. That guy from Auburn and the guy from what was his name? Some of those guys that made Feinbaum famous.
Harvey Updike.
Well, not him, but as much. What was that old guy that used to call in on?
He's the guy that called in to poison the trees.
Yeah. And then one of the...
you're talking about Charles from Reeltown.
Yeah, Charles from Reeltown. And then the girl who, bless her heart, she died. What was her name?
Tammy died.
Tammy was killed in a car wreck or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, actually near Ellick City on 280.
And of course, she was a star. She was a star on that. And everybody would listen to it because they wanted to hear those two people with their little shindig every morning or every afternoon.
The greatest caller of all time was Shane from Centerpoint.
Yeah, Shane from... Did he die? Yes, right, Shane.
He died several years ago. And then you had I-Man calling out of Montgomery, and then Jim from Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, that's right. I-Man still calls. You know one thing about old I-Man that I liked? He'd tell it like it is. He didn't pretend at all, you know.
I-Man used to call you and Bud all the time.
Yeah, I know he did. I know he did.
Rusty from Montgomery.
Yeah, no question about it.
I don't know why he's always going to I-Man on Feinbaum.
But what we're saying is those guys made Feinbaum famous, and like Mike said, they said he'd make it $5 million a year. Of course, he works for ESPN, and ESPN runs college football, Mike.
Yeah.
No question about it.
He helped launch the SEC network, and the SEC network's really popular as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You think we'll start on time? I know they've changed a couple of dates. They tweaked a couple of dates to open up the season.
My biggest issue is, I know NASCAR had 5,000 fans at Talladega yesterday, and I don't know how they went. Of course, there's a lot of controversy around that race.
Well, I'm going to tell you something that's going to surprise you a little bit. I'm not totally against fans being in the stadium now. I would want fans to be outside the stadium and making sure they're at least 6 feet apart, that type thing. But I could live with the fans not in the stadium for a while. Heck, when we watch it on TV, it's just 5 or 6 of us in one room watching the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if you have to be safe, I'm talking about to be safe, I would think you don't need anybody in the stadium.
Yeah, the PGA made a big announcement yesterday. They're going to play the PGA Championship in San Francisco, and they were talking about maybe moving it to some other courses throughout the country. But they're going to play the PGA Championship in August, and there's going to be no fans. So that's kind of yesterday.
That's California.
That's going to be the first major of the year. Of course, there'll be no French Open this year, but there'll be a PGA, a U.S. Open, and there'll be a Masters.
You know, the PGA is known for one thing: deep.
What? Rough?
Rough, exactly. you look at all the golf tournaments, the deepest roughs are in the U.S. Open. I mean, in the U.S. Open, if you hit it in the rough, you forget it. You just forget it. You can't get the ball out. It makes it a lot tougher golf tournament. How about Webb Stewart? Boy, did he play well or not?
Yeah, he putted lights out. I watched the end of that tournament. He had 2 guys right on his heels, and everybody was going low. Sergio even finished, I think.
Oh, yeah, something like 5 or 6 under, you would think would have won.
Justin Thomas started the day and shot 63 and went to 17 under and posted.
Yeah.
But you knew that wasn't going to be enough. Koepka, I finished in the top 5, too, so that's good to see.
Yeah, exactly.
Knee injury.
Yeah. Right now, I would love to see Koepka, see Webb Stewart, Webb Simpson. Boy, he's getting a lot of applause now. But then, of course, also the former Alabama golfer. There's several guys you would love to support and get behind. And where do they go this week? Do you know?
Let me look and see. I'll find out.
Of course, our show is brought to you by Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram trucks on the bypass right here in Troy. Believe you me, nobody beats a Premier deal. All right, go ahead, Mike.
I'm trying to find out where they're going to play. They're going to play the Travelers Championship in Connecticut.
The Travelers in Connecticut, that should be fairly cool up there, wouldn't you think?
I hope so.
All right, and of course, golf, when we didn't have it, of course, you had all these reruns. The golf's not a good rerun thing as far as I'm concerned. The excitement of golf is for you to make that putt live, like to win a tournament or whatever. But golf is a great spectator sport that we hope we don't ever lose because I bet you look at the ratings, they have not been very good since we haven't had golf.
Yeah, well, you had one player test positive, Nick Watney, who's been playing for years on the tour.
Yeah.
He tested positive for the virus, I think, the second day. And a lot of people were upset at kind of how they handled all that as far as quarantine. And he felt like he was sick going into the tournament, but he still tried to play. And I don't know if they'll have guys that are around him or guys that played in those groups that will be out this week or not. I guess we'll find out later.
Of course, the big event is when Tiger plays. Tiger makes all the difference. It's when he plays and when he doesn't play. Don't you agree?
Oh, there's no doubt. Nicholson will play this weekend.
But here it is. We got a new long driver. We got a new super stud player out there, Mike. Tell us about him.
Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah, he is out driving everybody. They said
he put on 20 pounds during the quarantine.
During the quarantine, yeah.
And he's real, into science of golf, and all his different clubs are the same length and size, and he's always trying to do whatever he could to kind of get an edge on the rest of the field.
You're looking up.
Now he gained 20 pounds of muscle. and he's hitting the ball like 325 off the tees. That's with no roll.
Yeah, everybody was coming off the field and said they could not believe. In fact, the guru of them all was saying that he's out driving everybody 25 yards.
How big a boy is he?
He's out driving Dustin Johnson 25 yards.
And I mean, he's just knocking it so much further, which means he uses a lot shorter club when he gets there. Is that right?
Yeah.
How big is he? Is he a big boy?
Well, how big is he? He's pretty strong.
I mean, he's probably about 6'1", 6'2", probably about 230.
He wears one of those cutie hats. What do you call them? I wear one every now and then.
Yeah, like a Paint Stewart hat.
Okay.
Yeah. And, of course,
the thing is, though, these courses, you can't build them any bigger. Some of them, like when he played Colonial, he was hitting them over all the sand traps. He was going over the trees, and he would be like 80 yards from the pin every time.
Wow. And of course, we were talking about he was actually playing with the #1 golfer in the world, wasn't
he? Yeah, but I mean, it's just a situation where, I mean, a lot of people, like golf purists, are upset about this just because of the fact that, that they want golf to be played the way it used to be played. They've even talked about maybe doing something with the ball, like a tournament ball.
Oh, gosh.
Or everybody plays with the same clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't do that because there's so many people getting endorsed by different.
I mean, that would be.
Well, you take college baseball. You used to see a lot of home runs, and then they did something to the ball or the bat. What did they do?
The bat. They deadened the bat.
See, they deadened the bat. What did they deaden the golf club?
Well, they still play with wooden bats in the pros, but like in archery, in our NASP, National Archery and Schools program, the kids shoot the same bow all over the country, all over the world, manufactured the same specs. The arrow is the exact same. The target length is the same. So the equipment is the exact same in the archery program called NASP, National Archery and Schools Program.
Yeah, and of course you've got a lot of those facilities out at the Pike County Lake. Can anybody come out there and shoot those targets, or do they have to pay? Do they have to pay?
Don't have to pay, but you can have a fishing or hunting license to use the archery range.
All right, now a lot of guys that bow hunt, this is a good way to practice.
Sure, practice their skills. Mm-hmm. And once this COVID opens up, it wouldn't surprise me if there's some tournaments that's going to show up.
Of course, ladies and gentlemen, Forrest Lee is one of the founders of archery in this part of the country. I remember when he first got it started, and he's one of the main cogs that started school archery teams across the country, and at one time right here in Troy was one of the best programs out there, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. Well, Kentucky was the first state.
Yeah.
Alabama was the second state. Now I think 48 or 49 states are part of the program. But I was teaching hunter education at Charles Henderson Middle School, and I got a flyer about this archery program. I just put it in my drawer. Well, I applied, and I was one of 16 teachers throughout the state of Alabama that they used as a pilot program. Well, once we became certified, we received about $5,000 worth of free equipment. Then I started teaching it in physical education classes. Well, you could always teach archery, but with their equipment, the way they wanted it taught was a certain way. So once I taught it, the first state championships were outdoors above Prattville at Landmark Park.
Yeah.
And you could take as many kids as you wanted to. Well, I carried 52. There were 212 people at that competition. We had 52. And one of them was a guy by the name of Timothy Porter, who was in a wheelchair. You remember seeing him at football games.
Sure.
No, he passed away a couple of years ago, but his mother carried him in a car. Of course, we were going to provide him a bus, a bus to get in, but he chose to ride with his mother. Well, he rolled out there and shot.
Yeah. The question I want to ask more than anything, that's something that really appealed to me more than anything, was you had a certain type of athlete. It didn't matter how big and how strong you were. Did you find that some people excelled in this and did not excel in anything else?
Well, it gave them something.
Confidence.
Everybody can't play basketball, football,
that's right,
or whatever. And the girls, my guess, our best archers from this school system are girls.
Yeah, sure.
I mean,
Tell her
we've had
name.
some,
Do you know her
Lindsey
name?
Fox is one of them. She's probably the best one we've had. Erin Jordan.
Yeah.
You know,
but they found out there were some skills that they didn't know they had.
Well, they just developed it, and they've never done it. So when you teach them the right way, and they do the same thing over and over again, and they relax and they practice on their own, next thing you know, they're state champions.
Exactly right, no question.
And
I just thought that was a wonderful experience for a lot of young people that did not excel in any other sport, but when it came to archery, they were better than everybody else.
It's the most diverse group of athletes and participants in any activity that's athletic.
Now, one thing about it, you had to be,
girls, black, white, Korean, I mean, Far East descent, Indian, Native. We've had Native Americans too.
So like if old Jimmy, who was not any good in dodgeball or not any good in softball and not any good in basketball, but was really good in archery, it made a difference in his confidence that will go with him a long way.
That's right. Right, I just...
I thought you did a great job with that program, and I wanted to sort of salute you this morning.
Thank you. Well, Banks has it. Pike County Elementary and High School have it.
So they're still doing it?
Goshen has it. Goshen Elementary, Goshen High, Charles Henson Elementary, Middle and High School. You know, rumor is Pike Liberal Arts may start it.
I want to mention Health Actions this morning. If you need rehab, no better place to go than Health Actions right here on the bypass right here in Troy. And, of course, All-State Collision, All-Star Collision, ladies and gentlemen, located on the bypass right here in Troy. Good people, and they'll make your car or truck look like new again. Mike Amos is calling from Great Beach. He's sort of looking out across a beautiful part of the country, Mike. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I live in paradise. I can't complain.
I hadn't heard a baby cry yet, though, you know?
Yeah, we have them in there out the door. In the morning, they watch a lot of cartoons, watch a lot of Disney.
I'm still watching. Yeah, exactly. I'm still watching some movies that I've been watching for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm saying, I said, when are these going to run out? But one of them is Hell. What is it? Hell on Wheels? What's the name of it?
You watching some on Netflix?
Yeah, it's a Western. It was a Western I was watching, you know. Yeah, you got to...
I just saw your daughter's former boss ride by, Brian Kelly from the popular country music group Florida Georgia Line. He just came by the house.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, Abby worked for them 2 years ago, last summer.
He's a really good guy. He does a lot for the community. I saw where he gave the Walton County Sheriff's Office yesterday 20 electric bikes.
Wow.
And that's what's new down here is all these electric bikes. You'll be on the road and you'll pass a guy on a bike, and the next thing you know, you'll go down the road and that bike will be right on your bumper. They can go about 25, 30 miles an hour.
Yeah. And what was this?
Brian Kelly is part of the Georgia Florida Line.
I don't know who Brian Kelly is.
He's Georgia Florida Line music group.
Yeah.
Well, he's one of the. He's the main guitar guy. He and his wife.
He's one of the lead singers.
See, my favorite guy is Jed Clampett, Mike. That's my favorite guy, Jed Clampett.
Dread Clampett?
Dread, what is it called? Dread Clampett?
Dread Clampett.
Yeah. See, a lot of people think of the Red Bar as just being a good place to go eat, which it is, but it's got the best entertainment going on Sunday afternoon. That's their hot time, isn't it, Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, they call it Sunday Fun Day down here.
Yeah. And a lot of people pack into that place. Is it going to have more room, or is it the same size?
You know, they say it's going to be a little bit taller ceilings, a little bit bigger in certain areas, but pretty much the same blueprint. So it's going to be unique to see. I'm going to try to go down there and sneak down there and maybe see it before I get on the road this week.
Of course, their food is just outstanding at noon or in the afternoon. A lot of people come in there for a brunch on Sundays and to get to hear the music and so forth.
Mike, you might know, but in Florida, a kid can play football at one school, transfer to the next school before the season starts in basketball, play for that school, and then go to another school and transfer and play baseball, go back to his original school.
I don't
you know that open transfer?
No, I didn't
There's
either.
some kind of open transfer law, rule down there.
I know there's a homeschool situation where the homeschool kids can go play wherever they want.
I was wondering about that, about the homeschool kids.
Well, I don't know. I'd have to look into that.
Well, you know, Christian Story, that great player from the net, 6'1", 210, was named the male athlete of the year in the state of Alabama.
Mike, this is something he's come from a 1A program, and of course that's the same. But you know what? The Lannettes have produced as many great football players any town, anywhere. That's where Malin Kent played. That's where a bunch of great players. Bobby Hunt played there, and they've had some great quarterbacks that come out of there.
Yeah, the female player of the year for the state of Alabama was Jay Barker's daughter, who is a great basketball player, and she's going to go play with
Georgia.
Maya Davenport at Georgia.
Yeah.
So they're going to be 6 teammates.
You mean tell us about that, Mike? I didn't know he had a great softball player.
No,
basketball player.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about him.
She's
about her.
6'4". She could go anywhere in the country.
6'4". And
she's played at Spain Park.
I read where they practiced together.
Yeah, there's pictures of them practicing.
And
who is that now?
Davenport and this girl here from
Jay Barker's daughter.
Jay Barker's daughter.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
They've been practicing together because they'll be playing together.
Then, of course, her mother is a country music singer, isn't she? Her mother is a big-time country music singer, isn't she?
Well, no, that's a different mother. You know, they
Oh, okay.
Barker remarried to Sarah Evans.
Yeah, he's married to the movie country music star Sarah Evans.
Yeah, Barker still does a radio show in Birmingham.
And Barker's, Barker is one of the clean-cut American youngsters that made it big in college football. He was a very good college quarterback. Don't you agree?
Jay Barker. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
You know, he wasn't a good pro quarterback, but was a very good college quarterback.
Yeah, I remember he came and spoke at First Baptist Church when I was in high school. I think it was after Alabama won the national championship. So he definitely is going out and reached a lot over the years.
You know, Alabama has had that type guy that might have been not have been a great pro player, but a very good college player. Mm-hmm. The commentary guy, the guy that does the commentary.
Who is the greatest quarterback play to come out of Alabama since probably, I would say Richard Todd, I guess, was number 6 pick in the NFL draft?
Yeah, well, as far as prolific, how good do you... Yeah, of course, Alabama is becoming wide receiver. They're putting out more wide receivers than anybody in the country now. Don't you agree?
Wide receivers and running backs.
And running backs, you're exactly right. A lot of people think Alabama's going to win it all, but not Lindy. Lindy likes Ohio State, Mike, and then he likes Clemson. Then he likes Alabama, and then Oklahoma and Florida.
It's all about what kind of defense Alabama puts on the field this year, in my opinion. I think offensively they're going to be more than good enough. But I tell you what, they got beat at the line of scrimmage so much last year. I mean, I've never seen teams go to run on Alabama up front like they have been able to. And
you know what? You look at what Alabama won with, all those years they were so good. Clemson doing the same thing with big linemen, big defensive linemen that are really just knock down great players. And I noticed they recruited and have already got commitments from the top 3 defensive linemen in the country, and they all going to Clemson.
Well, you know, this year is going to be an odd year, but Ohio State, Clemson, whoever wins the SEC, and I think Oregon. If Oregon goes undefeated, you're welcome, Scott. I think Oregon's going to be in there.
You know something?
Oh, no, Oregon lost their quarterback. That's going to be tough to replace him.
Yeah, there's no question about it.
Have they got Oregon in the top 10?
Yeah, you're right. That's going to hurt them a little.
Probably not. But
yeah, he's got them in the top 10. Yeah. Let's see here. The Oregon Ducks.
I mean, one of the best quarterbacks in the Pac-12 will be.
Got him picked 9.
The USC quarterback.
Who is that? The USC quarterback?
Yeah, Clovis is a really good quarterback. I remember playing the first game in Jerry World.
Right now, is that game still on, Alabama and Southern Cal? Is it still on?
As far as I know.
That's what they're saying.
As far as I know.
And of course...
look, what's the day? The day is the 23rd of June. So you got July 23rd, August 23rd. That's 2 months. And then the season starts on September the 5th, so you're almost still 2.5 months from the season starting.
Doesn't Notre Dame open up like a couple of days earlier in England or something like that?
Dublin, Ireland. It got moved to the Naval Academy.
Yes, right.
Let me tell you something else that they're not being able to do that was huge in college football. You know, for the last 5 to 6, 7, 8 years, or say 10 years even, if you didn't go to a team's camp during the summer or go to their big camps, they weren't recruiting you. Alabama got most all their players that went to their camp. Well, now they don't have camps to go to. They have to recruit a lot differently. What do you think?
I don't know, Dad. They've been recruiting these same kids since they were playing ninth grade.
Yeah, I know, but without the camps, and of course they used to have huge camps even here at Troy.
Oh yeah,
Troy did the same thing, and
Bobby Bowden.
Well, the kid from Charles Henderson just got an offer to get from Texas A&M, so now he's got offers from Texas A&M, Tennessee, and South Carolina, and he's entering his junior year.
Who is this kid? I haven't even heard of him, Mike. What's his name?
Rusal.
Do you know him? Do you know him?
I know him, Rusal. I call him Rusal. There's a bunch of
big
Rusals
kid or what?
He's probably 6.
Or is he going to be a junior?
I think he's going to be a 10th grader or 11th.
See, that's why I don't know him. He's just a young kid, isn't he? Yeah. No question about it.
Want
to mention Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram truck on the bypass right here in Troy, and Jason Gregory is, boy, he's got them dealing like no place in the country right now. You want a huge deal on a Dodge Chrysler Jeep or Ram truck, believe you me, Premier will beat anybody's deal. I mean anybody's deal from Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep. Also, I want to mention Bird Drugs on the corner in downtown Troy. They're serving breakfast as we speak. Of course, Sisters is serving lunch as we, about 10:30 today. The food yesterday was outstanding. I got it to go, and the food was outstanding. And, of course, we appreciate all of our sponsors and people that have been supporting our show for a long time. Of course, Bill Jackson Chevrolet, Ford right here in Troy. Also, our good friends at Troy Rehab. And, of course, they're just outstanding. What now?
Need to mention P.S. Falk, Andy Falk's great company down in Enterprise.
Yeah.
Met somebody on the beach in Grayton the other day that had traveled overseas to Asia with Andy. I think her name was Erica.
I tell you what, he does have a great selection of furniture. And I've always said if you go there, you'd be expected to buy something because the deals are just out of sight. No question about it.
All like driftwood, teakwood, all kinds of unique stuff from all over the world. It's really cool for us.
Yeah, no question about it.
It says Jaquavius Rusal.
Yeah, tell us about him.
Weak side defensively in 6'3", 230.
Golly.
Class of 2023.
Oh, me.
He's only going to be a 10th grader.
Going to only be a 10th grader. They already recruiting him.
Says offer from South Carolina. And the other ones you just mentioned, but
Tennessee and A&M.
Yeah.
I mean, if Jeremy Pruitt's interested in you, and Derek Ansley, I mean, that guy must be a really good player already.
Yeah.
There's no telling how fast he is.
Jeremy Pruitt can coach defense.
No question about it. Well, I remind you that Troy Health and Rehab, for long-term health care, short-term rehab, ladies and gentlemen, great people out at Troy Health and Rehab right here in Troy. We're talking to you live from our studios on South Grundy Street in Troy. This is Today in Lower Alabama. And we appreciate you very much out there. And, of course, the virus is still there for us. It's something we do not take for granted. What do you do as far as the virus out of the Pike County Lake?
Well, we ask that you don't enter the bait shop unless you have a mask.
Yeah.
We sell them for $1. I mean,
exactly.
On the side.
Are they nice?
They're pretty good masks. They're blue with that triple thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Or we wait on them at the window.
Or they be like this, whatever color you like.
And then they pay through the window. We open up a window and get their information, give them the permit, then they hand us their money or card, and we swipe it. They go on their way, then we'll try to clean up and go.
Now, do y'all ever count the fish or do anything like that? Do they supposed to bring the fish by your office?
Right there below the office, at the steps, we have a weigh station where we're supposed to count the bass, the brim, and the catfish and weigh them just for records.
Yeah.
The only restrictions on length, like I talked earlier, are bass, but they're supposed to weigh all fish before they leave.
Yeah. All right, now, do you have what kind of, do you use an old-fashioned
scales? We have scales.
No, when you catch your fish, you put it on the line. Do you use the old fish line, or how you do it?
Whatever how they want to do it. They can put them in a bucket or in a basket or on a fishing line.
Yeah. But it's a great place for you folks out there, or you fathers, or you grandfathers, or you aunts or your uncles, to take some kid fishing. It's a great opportunity because it's very little effort that goes into it. You just bring the pole and y'all ready. Is that right?
My favorite thing was when I took Abby fishing and she had one on. Daddy, you know that shock you get.
Yeah, exactly. And now, do you ever have to sometime take a fish off a hook for somebody?
No. I would if I had to, but no, they're pretty much on their own. They know what they're doing.
What about like coolers and like food and stuff? Can you bring all that out there?
You can bring food. You can bring coolers. No alcoholic beverages.
Y'all don't want alcoholic beverage on the whole system.
That's what it says. No alcoholic beverages, no grills at this time. But you can bring your food and have a picnic. A lot of people just come have a picnic. One of the students at Troy University, when he graduated, of course they haven't had graduation yet, he was a ROTC cadet. He and his wife will be stationed in Idaho, but his whole family, I bet, spent 3 or 4 hours at the lake having a picnic.
Let me ask you this. A fruit. All right, how many different sandwiches can you make out of a fruit, Mike?
Tomato,
yeah.
Pineapple.
One more. Banana. That's about all I can think of as far as the sandwich goes. A tomato sandwich, a pineapple sandwich, or a banana sandwich.
Now, I chop up an apple real fine.
Oh, no, I've never had it.
And put it in my tuna.
Hey, look, I've got an apple sandwich.
Tuna apple sandwich.
Hey, Mike, we've got apple sandwiches in the.
You chop up an apple.
Pineapple and banana and tomato. That's about the 3 that you're going to have. Right. You ever heard of a squash sandwich?
No. A wish sandwich.
Or an orange sandwich, have you ever heard of? Yeah. But isn't that amazing? Only 3 choices of which are good sandwiches.
You ever heard of a wish sandwich?
What about a cucumber sandwich?
No.
That would be good.
I tell you what, man, if you got to sell for a cucumber sandwich, I feel sorry for you, man.
I don't know if that's a fruit.
I'm the only person that orders a BLT hold the tomato.
Oh, yeah, I got you. How about a Spam sandwich?
Oh, yeah.
How about a potted meat sandwich? Or sardines. My daddy used to love sardines.
You know what a wish sandwich is, don't you?
What?
That's when you have 2 slices of bread and wish
exactly
you had
right.
some meat.
No question.
That's a Blues
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you.
The other day, you had mayonnaise sandwiches.
Yeah,
I had those.
With pepper. Yeah, that's when when you're on hard times right there.
We had them that and Kool-Aid.
Listen, when my mother said go to Davis's store and get some pimento loaf or some bologna, I was jumping up and down. That was like a steak to me with a bologna sandwich, especially one that you fried. You ever had a fried bologna sandwich?
Yes, out here at Sunny South.
All right, but what you got to do at Sunny South is one of our sponsors, and boy, they got great food. Tell them about the food at Sunny South.
Oh, you can't beat it. They have anything, pork chops, fried sausage, chicken, potato logs, bologna sandwiches, red links, roll-up, sausage roll-up,
and
all kinds of stuff.
To pick
Scrambled
up
eggs,
right now.
grits.
No question about it. And you can't eat there, but you can sure get it to go, and it's wonderful.
You can.
Of course, my good friend Trey Norman and all that bunch.
Jimmy and Miss Martha.
No question about it. Jimmy Norman, one of the great athletes of all time. Hope you've enjoyed our show. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all our opinion. It's all our opinion. Nothing can be cut in stone or whatever you call it. But again, we have fun, and we like to bring up topics that you'd be interested in. And I hope you have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bright and early, Max Howell will be our guest.